Hello everyone and welcome. I'm John at Corey. Today we've got a very special guest with us here on TV Orient. We're delighted to come to you today, and he joins us from Chicago, the Windy City, a beautiful town just a few hours west of us. And it's a delight for us to have in studio with us today Dr. Yates from Dr. Yates Hair Science, if I'm saying that correctly.
You got it right.
We're honored to have you here. It's really
you.
been wonderful. You know, you've been touring Michigan all day today, specifically here in the Metro Detroit area.
Right.
And you've had a chance to meet with some folks, to do some TV and radio appearances, and now we've got you all to ourselves. So our viewers are interested in learning a little bit more about you. Tell us your background.
Okay, it's a pretty simple story. I'm from Chicago, went to Northwestern, became a trauma surgeon and a cancer surgeon, and during that time I was losing my hair. And it just really bugged me to the core. I lost a lot of self-confidence, and I kind of suffered in silence. So when I was a regular surgeon, a cancer surgeon, and a trauma surgeon, I had a hair transplant. Believe it or not, my hairline was back in here, and now it's been restored fully, and it's made a difference in my life. And I decided to switch professions maybe 15 years after doing cancer surgery and trauma surgery to become a hair transplant surgeon to help other people. And it's really been a gratifying thing.
It's an amazing story, and such a stark difference between being an oncologist, I guess you would say, and to being a cosmetic surgeon.
Right.
So very interesting. Let's talk about hair loss.
Okay.
Now, a lot of people say, women, stress, heredity. What would you attribute hair loss to in men? Everybody has a different reason why they're losing their hair.
Right.
What are your thoughts?
Well, most of the time it's always going to be hereditary.
Okay.
You know, it's the pooling of your mom and your dad's genes. Stress alone cannot make you lose your hair and keep losing your hair. Like a lot of people, like when I was in medical school and my hairline was here and I had like a 6 head, not even a 5 head, people would say, oh, you're a doctor, you're supposed to lose your head. I mean, you lose your hair,
right,
you know?
Right.
But it's all genetics. You know, there are some medications, there are some diseases that cause hair loss, like anemia, thyroid disease, things like that. But 9 times out of 10, when you see regular guys on the streets, it's all genetics. And it's not like people would say, oh, is it from your mom's side or is it from your dad's side? We know now it's from either side. Either side can contribute to you having hair loss. But stress can make it worse. But say if you're under a lot of stress and you lose a lot of hair, if you don't have the gene for male pattern baldness, that hair will grow back. But if you have that gene, the stress acts as an accelerant, like pouring fuel in a fire to speed things up. So stress alone can't do it.
Interesting, very interesting. Hair transplantation has changed and evolved, if you will, maybe not changed, but so much over the years. I remember being a kid and I would see older uncles who had the doll hair, you know, and that was great because back then at least they took the initiative to better themselves.
Right,
and
to do something.
How has it changed over the years?
Oh, it's drastically. It's like night and day. You know, just like you said, you could see somebody at a party with toothbrush hair, we call it, you know. And what would happen back then is big plugs, the size almost of a tiny cookie, were taken from the back of the head and moved to the front. Now we move hair seamlessly, one hair at a time, from the back to the front without any scarring, so it's no way you can tell. The days are old when you can see somebody with that kind of toothbrush or doll's hair transplant. Just doesn't happen anymore. It's analogous just like to cell phones. Nobody has the big cell phone anymore. Everybody has a little iPhone 6. The same thing has happened with hair transplantation.
Amazing.
Doesn't happen.
And you went, again, talking about the change you went from being in cancer and doing the things you were doing to become a hair transplantation specialist. What did you have to personally go through? Is there any kind of board certification or something in that respect that you needed to do in order to move into this new area of medicine?
Yeah, like all realms of medicine, there's board certification. Board certification for any realm of medicine is voluntary. So there is board certification in hair transplantation. I am board certified because, like the Army says, I want to be all I can be. Hair transplants now, we have what's called robot hair transplantation, called the ARTIS, where the robot actually will remove the hair from the back of the head, and we remove these hairs one by one and implant it up top. So it's just changed dramatically. As far as training processes, you know, I've been doing hair transplantation now 10 years. You know, I've done thousands of cases. You know, I've learned from the best of the best, and there are a lot of good people out here in the United States that are really top-notch hair transplant surgeons. And I know we were talking before about people going out of the country to have a hair transplant.
Yeah.
You know, and that comes up all the time. You know, you've heard of that.
I have. Well, there's a story about a procedure that takes place in Istanbul. People fly to Turkey or one of the Mediterranean countries. They spend a few days, they get the procedure done, and they come back.
Right.
Tell us more. I mean, what have you heard about it? I'm not familiar. But then again, the other thing too, I think one has to be concerned about is going to a foreign country,
right?
Or maybe the FDA, is that who regulates, or would it be?
Yeah, it regulates all medicine. Sure.
Medicine, would might be a lot different than what we have here in the States. So it's an alternative or an option.
It's an option
for folks. But you're here in America,
right?
You're based right here in Chicago,
right?
Just across the pond, if you will,
right?
And share with us your thoughts on the differences.
Yeah, recently I've seen a lot of patients come in and say, oh, I've heard you can go to Turkey, have a hair transplant, so forth and so on. And like you said, I think options are great. What makes people happy in life, the more options you have, the better. But I think there needs to be accountability. Like, say if you have a procedure someplace, something goes wrong, you need to be able to get back there to have it looked at. If you have it done in Turkey, it's going to be a problem. Yeah. And then you add up the airfare, the hotel, the this, the that, and it has to equal what you can get here in the United States. And I can say this personally, the doctors here in the United States are some of the best doctors in the entire world. Yeah. And I'm sure Turkey has the greatest doctors as well. But if it's going to cost you less and you get the same product, I have no reason to say why wouldn't you go and just stay here.
And generally after a surgery, post-op is generally cheaper than the actual surgery itself. So you'd look like you'd be paying more to go back if there was an issue or a problem.
Oh yeah, I mean if you go back, you're paying again.
Well, let's talk about that. Let's talk about what takes place after the procedure. So someone comes in, they have the robot or the FUE procedure that you offer, and what can one expect immediately following the procedure of a hair transplantation?
Well, the good thing now with hair transplantations, there's no big cuts in the back. So there's no stitches, no taking out staples, no taking out stitches. The hair that we place in the front is placed with tiny, like millimeter little, needles. So it's not painless, but it's as close to painless as you're going to get.
Okay.
So during the procedure, it's done under local anesthesia. When you go home with medicine no bigger than, say, Tylenol. For pain. Most people now aren't in any pain. There's hardly any repercussions after surgery. We do a lot of people on TV. They get back on TV 2 to 3 days. So it's really changed. It's night and day.
And it's affordable because you talk about doing people on TV or maybe celebrities or something, but then you've got the common individual, the blue-collar worker or someone who's raising a family.
Right.
And like yourself, you get up in the morning and you look and you, as you talked about when you were
in med school,
and you see the line starting to get further and further back, or the thinker, what do they call it, the thinkers,
We call it the runway.
The runway. Like the runway. Oh, I like that too. Yeah. Okay. So talk to us about that. I mean, there's obviously options in terms of affordability for not just celebrities and movie stars having it done, but also for
the common person.
Yeah.
I'd say 80% of my practice is just the common person. School teachers, policemen, firemen, make up the majority of our practice. So it's almost rare for celebrities or even doctors, lawyers, or whoever to get hair transplants. We find it's more of the, right in the middle segment gets hair transplants more than the other segment. Most people think you just operate on fancy doctors, lawyers, actors, so forth and so on. It's actually the opposite.
Maybe some politicians in Washington should revisit their procedures. We won't mention any names.
Right, but it's true. We've been following hair loss with presidents. Most people who win in the Oval Office have a full hairline.
Oh. Ronald Reagan, my goodness.
Right, Ronald Reagan, of
Bill
course,
Clinton,
Kennedy, of course, Obama.
Oh,
so I think it's one of those unconscious, unspoken things people in power with the hair. I think it would have made a difference, say, if Obama looked like Michael Jordan. Not to say anything about Michael Jordan, I think it would have made a difference. Or if Bill Clinton looked like Gerald Ford. So I think all those are very subtle things.
Mitt Romney didn't win, and Mitt Romney's got great hair.
But that's for another reason. Okay. I mean, that's a whole nother show.
We've been talking about men. What about women? Do women lose their hair, and can they also have these transplants or this procedure done if you're a woman?
Yes, women lose hair. About 40 million women in the United States are losing hair as we're presently speaking. 30% of my practice are women. We do transplants on women all the time. Same process, remove the hair in the back, basically, and I know I haven't told you this, but the reason it works is this hair is not susceptible to the balding hormone.
Okay.
So this hair will last forever. So you remove this hair here, sparsely, of course. You want to thin this out a little bit, take some of this hair, hair and place it up here. And up here, it lasts permanently. It doesn't fall out. So the same principle is used in women as in men. So we do women as well.
So you were younger when you noticed your hair starting to fall out.
Yes.
And today, now that you're doing what you're doing, what do you see in terms of age? What is the general age of people coming to you saying, "Doc, bring me back, bring my hair back"?
All over the gamut. I mean, I've seen people as young as 17 to the oldest person we've done is like 92.
Awesome.
But like 90's the new 40 maybe. You know, that's what he told me at least.
But I know.
Right. But the average person I'd say is around 40 years old, female or male, about 40 years old, right in the middle,
Okay.
all day long.
We've heard that you can take hair from other places. You talked about taking it from the back,
Right.
But other places of the body and put it on the scalp.
Yes.
Is that you can do that?
Works all the time. Like people who are, it's all supply, economics 101, supply versus demand. Once this supply is gone here, because everybody always wants more hair.
Sure.
You know, after they have one transplant, it looks great.
Sure.
They always want more. So you get as much hair as you can here without thinning this too much, and then you start looking other places. The beard, the chest.
Really?
Yes, it works well. You can't put the
Amazing.
beard hair on the hairline because it's too
Okay.
obvious, but you use it as filler.
Very
We
interesting.
do it all the time.
What is that old adage? You can never have too much money, too much hair. I forget the third one, but
Or be too handsome.
there you go. Or be too handsome, which you are, by the way,
Oh,
Doc. And,
well, you too.
well, you're very kind. Thank you very much. Now, what if I wanted to donate hair to somebody? Not that I have so much hair, but let's say, can someone, if you run out of places on the body, can you donate? Can someone be a donor?
Theoretically, if you had an identical twin. If we're not identical genetically, then no, because you'd have to take medicine to suppress the immune response for me, the person who gets the hair, not to chew it up like the little Pac-Man. So, no.
I have a friend who talks often about cloning. Is that something that's in the horizon?
It's in the horizon.
Okay.
You know, it's been talked about since early 2000s. We were supposed to have something by 2005, but
Okay.
it's harder than we thought.
Okay.
You know, it's taken a longer time just to make one little hair follicle. You know, we can grow it on a mouse tail, but we can't grow it on the head. You know,
Okay.
so it is coming. And you know, maybe in our children's lifetimes, it'll be a reality. But right now, we're a little far away from that.
But this is something we will see, though.
Oh,
hopefully. Yeah.
most definitely.
Because in the 70s, they told me we were going to switch from the American system of counting to the metric system.
Right.
And here we are in 2015, still using our way.
That's
the only
true.
country in the world, by the way, which does it. But let's talk more about what you're doing in the hopes that cloning will eventually come. And it's
Right.
great that there are so many options out there. Now, people use lotions and potions and take vitamins and biotin and all that. Does that help? Does it hurt? Is it counterproductive? What are your thoughts?
My thoughts are there are like four things that are FDA approved. Like
Okay.
say if you're going to be a scientist and approach it like a scientist, there's a medicine called Propecia
Sure.
that works. Then there's Rogaine, minoxidil. Some people call it Nogaine, but it does work.
Okay.
Then there's laser light therapy, where
Okay.
you use a cool laser, like in the airplane magazines, you see these combs
Yep.
with these lasers. Those actually work.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, that's good to know.
That actually works, and then there are other things that are a little controversial. Platelet-rich plasma, that's kind of a new thing where you draw blood from people, kind of activate the platelets, they release these growth factors and you inject them into the scalp. A lot of athletes have been doing this, like injecting it into joints to prevent surgery
Okay.
by healing. So you inject it into the scalp, it stimulates the scalp to regrow hair. So there are some things that work. The hair business is $1 billion industry, so anything that I can guarantee that costs $24 that you can buy on the corner drugstore is not going to help you.
Yeah.
All the vitamins in the world, hardly anybody in the United States has a biotin deficiency.
Yeah.
Everybody I see is on biotin, but biotin is a B vitamin. As soon as you take it, it goes right through. So biotin's kind of overrated. All the rest of the vitamins as well. Our nutrition in the United States is so superior, we hardly have any deficiencies of anything, usually.
Beautiful. Good to know. Yeah.
So it's usually not a vitamin problem. There's been some new data coming out about vitamin D.
Okay.
Maybe that's causing it, but again, that's going to be a rarity.
Interesting. I was taking hair, skin, and nails for a while.
Yeah.
And my nails were growing and my skin looked great, but nothing was happening with the hair.
Yeah, and it seems the biotins and the cysteine and things like that does seem to help the nails, but the hair, no, I don't think so.
Very interesting. But there's also some concerns, though. There could be some side effects with Propecia.
Oh, yes.
I've heard some stories about
Yes.
it's a hormone.
It's a hormone modulator.
Yeah.
It blocks what's called DHT, which is a molecule they call hair loss. But the problem, Propecia has sexual side effects. So, you grow hair and don't want to have sex, so it's kind of a toss-up.
Wow.
You know?
Well, there's a pill for that too, isn't there?
There's a pill for that too.
Well,
You know?
let's talk about what makes a person ideal. What's an ideal candidate for a hair transplant?
Okay. There are a couple things that make somebody ideal. First, the supply and demand equation. The supply has to be good. You have to have good donor hair. A lot of people come in and they think they have good donor hair and they don't. So they have to have good donor, and the donor hair is the back and around the sides. And then they have to be realistic as far as what expectations they want to do. They can't come out looking like Elvis and things like that. You know, so usually good donor hair, absence of medical problems, and reasonable expectations.
This has been such an interesting conversation, and I wish we could continue. We want to have you back on the program so
Great.
we can talk more about this. Now, if somebody is interested and they want to get a hold of you or learn more about Dr. Yates Hair Science, where can they go? Is there
They can
any
go to the
website?
internet,
Okay.
DrYatesHairScience.com.
Okay.
That'd be the best place. Or just Google me. I have a YouTube channel. They can see all the videos of me doing surgery, or they could call me.
Fantastic. That's great. Dr. Yates Hair
Science Group.
HairScienceGroup.com. You
Yep.
got it. You heard it here first in Metro Detroit. I want to thank Norman Kiminaya and all the staff here at TV Orient for having us on today. I want to thank my new and good friend, Dr. Yates, came in from Chicago, came back to Detroit from Chicago where he spent some time here. Thank all of you for tuning in. We'll see you next time. I'm John Corey.